Welcome back to the preview show. I'm Casey Kim. Of course, that's Mitchell Burr from News from the Pits. And we're here to talk about Darlington this weekend. Yeah, we know everything that happened in Dover. Chase Elliott, of course, won a rained out weekend. We'll address some of those topics when we get to the gas and go segment. But we got a couple things to talk about that happened this week. Now let's touch on Dover for a second. How do you think that went?
I think it went good. I only caught the cup race because I was on vacation last weekend. So I was one of the rare people that was actually happy it rained on Sunday because I'm like, hey, I can actually watch this race now. But I thought from everything I saw, the racing looked good. It was a fun weekend. I think it's something that Dover needed. And like you look at like the crowd in general on Monday, it was still a fairly decent crowd, which I think Dover, there's been like concerns about that track and attendance and if they're going to stay on the schedule. And I think it was a good weekend for Dover. And I think it was another positive check in the next gen column, just because, this wasn't like the most entertaining of races, but I think Monday was actually a pretty good race.
Yeah. We'll address more topics from Dover when we get to the gas and go segment. The NASCAR Hall of Fame class was announced this week. Matt Kenseth and Kirk Shelmerdine from the Modern Era ballot, Herschel McGriff from the Pioneer ballot, and Mike Helton won the Landmark Award. Was a good class. A lot of people were, I don't know. There was discussion of whether or not Kenseth should be in on his first year, but he's in.
I think Kenseth definitely deserves to be in there. And you compare him to other people that were nominated. I think the fact that he has 2 Daytona 500s and a NASCAR Cup Series championship, that's a Hall of Famer, regardless of what you have to say. And I think he definitely deserves to be in it. I think, let's say this is a year from now, and you have Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus that are possibly eligible to be in the Hall of Fame. Then it gets to be a little bit of a debate whether a guy like Matt Kenseth would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But given everything, I think he deserved to be in there. I also was very glad to see Kirk Shelmerdine get in there. I think that one was long overdue as well.
Yeah. Of course, Jimmy and Chad will be eligible next year. Who knows, they'll be on that Pioneer ballot. So it'll be interesting to see how Hall of Fame time works around. Herschel McGriff, of course, got the Pioneer ballot award, and then the Landmark Award got to Mike Helton. So good stuff there. We'll have more discussions on that in a little bit. But we're going to Darlington this weekend. But we'll get into this now. I awarded my throwback winners on Twitter. There I'll be honest, there wasn't a lot of good ones, but there were the good ones that they have were good.
I agree with that completely. And I'm not one of these types of people that just will shame any throwbacks unless it's like ridiculously bad, like Ricky Stenhouse's throwback last year, where it's just like, okay, this isn't actually a throwback though. Like I tweeted about this earlier today too. It's just like, I'm happy when teams just run it, even if it's like Austin Cindric where the colors don't match and whatever, like at least they did something to participate.
Yeah.
Whereas like, I think one of the biggest disappointments of this week is the fact that RCR is not doing anything for throwback weekend. And it's just like, these are guys that usually knock throwback weekend out of the park, but they're not participating whatsoever. And that's kind of a shame. But like you said, I think the ones that are good are very, very good this year. And I was pretty satisfied with most of them.
Okay. So your winners. Okay. So I awarded my winners on Twitter. So mine are for the Cup Series. And this is also the winner of the overall throwback category. The two Earnhardt schemes. It's like, that's going to be tough to go up against. A Ryan Williams designed scheme with Junior Motorsports won last year. And now a Kyle Sykes designed scheme at Trackhouse won this year. Of course, we had Kyle on the show yesterday. So go check out that interview. We talked to him about his career and how he got to design these things. So that was pretty cool. For the Xfinity scheme, kind of the theme of your shirt right now. Ty Gibbs's Bobby Labonte throwback from 2000. When I saw that thing, I'm like, oh God, that takes you back. It does. It really does. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that card's iconic. For trucks, it was a hard one, but I went with another one. I went with Derek Krause's Bill McAnally scheme. We had Derek on the show this week, so got to talk to him about that. It was a big surprise to Bill, and if people know Bill, was talking to Kevin Green, who the PR guys at BMR. He told me it's tough to surprise Bill, so it was a good one. Derek and Bill's daughter Haley. We were able to keep this a surprise that we know of. But yeah, some throwbacks tonight. Of course, Matt DiBenedetto's running the Sterling Marlin throwback. I know that's a pretty popular one. And of course, you'll see them all tonight and throughout the weekend in the Truck Xfinity and Cup race. So good stuff there. All right, let's get to our favorite segment of the show. This is actually your first time doing this. Of course, Jonathan's done this so many times. And I believe Nathan did it for one episode, but it's time for Gas and Go. We're going to go down at a bunch of topics. You know how this works. We're going to get a bunch of topics in here, and Mitchell's going to give his thoughts on that. Okay. So there was a lot of debate on start times this weekend. What is your take on that with the late start times, with apparently which boosts ratings, which it does, but obviously, people want to also get on with their day. I get that argument, but what is your take on
that? I'm not very passionate on this subject. I think it's kind of a lame argument to say that noon start times wouldn't work, because you look at the NFL, who has noon start times every single week, and they have just ratings galore. I think it's definitely possible. And I know with tracks like Dover, it becomes a big debate when like weather becomes an issue and they don't have lights. And it's just like, well, why didn't we just start this race at noon instead of waiting till whatever time the race was supposed to start and then have it be affected by rain? But then you have the argument of like, well, if we started at noon, then we're only getting half a race in, and shouldn't we want to get the full race in? And I don't know. I think with tracks that have lights, start it whenever. Start when TV ratings are great. When they don't have lights, I do think you have to take that into consideration of, hey, we only have a certain amount of time to work with. And I think, yes, TV ratings are important, but TV ratings are going to be affected if the race runs on Monday versus noon on Sunday. And I'm sure the TV numbers would have been better if it would have ran on Sunday at noon instead of Monday at noon. So I don't know. Although we did see, like I said earlier, we did see a decent crowd come back for Dover, but it always just breaks my heart when you see these races run on Monday and the stands are just completely wiped away because everybody only had Sunday off. And I remember being a fan going to like Chicagoland, and I remember seeing people have to leave because of rain delays. And it's just like, that sucks. And you don't want to see that. So it's a very divisive subject, but that would be my opinion on it.
Yeah. I know our preview show friend, Nathan Solomon, was of course covering the race for the podium finish. And of course he had to leave on Sunday as well. So yeah, it's an interesting topic. We'll see how it all shapes out. Okay. So overall favorite throwback.
I gotta go with Ty Gibbs. I gotta go with Ty Gibbs. I've been So this is the one everybody every single year has been waiting for, the Jeff Gordon Flames. I feel like everybody every single year has just been like, when is Hendrick gonna run this paint scheme? And I've been sitting here ever so patiently, just been like, when am I getting this Bobby Labonte paint scheme? And I've been waiting for years, Casey. I've been waiting for years, Casey. And we finally got it. That one by far is my favorite, without a doubt. I will say, I think the best Jeff Gordon throwback isn't Byron's, which I know that one caused a lot of controversy as well, too. Yeah. I really like Lawless Allen's Jeff Gordon throwback. Yes. That one is clean, and I really like that one as well.
Yeah, Lawless was on the show last week to talk about. Of course, Lawless is a regular guest on my channel, and yeah, of course, maybe hopefully that truck runs well tonight, because that last time that scheme was on the racetrack, it crashed. So
it crashed relatively early.
Yeah, but I was wondering when that Interstate Batteries, the Shark scheme was going to come out. So finally here. Yeah, it's good good stuff. And obviously it won the Xfinity Throwback, but yeah, there were some good ones. All right. Okay. So last one I got for you. What's the biggest thing you're looking forward to this weekend for all 3 series Darlington?
That's a good question. I think again, as it's going to be a reoccurring theme this year with Cup, is just like, how is that going to work with this type of racetrack? And like, it's weird because you think we'd have a general consensus, but you never know. We've seen tracks that haven't produced the best of racing produce really good racing this year. We've seen tracks that have produced really good racing in the past produce really average racing this year. So I'm really interested in that on the Cup side of things. Trucks, I think it's just a matter of like, what are we going to get with the Camping World Truck Series this week? Are we going to get like Bristol Dirt, which was a relatively clean race, except when you include the fact that
trucks got stuck
together. Austin Waite and Matt DiBenedetto got hooked up on each other in the weirdest accident that I think we've ever seen ever. But I mean, that one is just going to be interesting. Are we going to get a more relaxed version of that series, or are we going to get the series where like 30 trucks wreck on the restart, as we saw last year at Darlington with the Truck Series? There's a lot of people in the Truck Series too that I think really need to have like just a relatively clean and calm day where they're there at the end. I think you look at like a Matt DiBenedetto, who I think he's done really well with Rackley this year, but he gets in these weird accidents that just are a case of running anywhere below 5th in the Truck Series, where everybody just seems like they are very aggressive down there. And you look at like Haley Deegan, I think she really needs a good run too. As for Xfinity, it's the invasion of the Cup Series drivers. We got Tyler Reddick in there. I believe Chase Elliott's in the 88 car this weekend. It's starting to become a thing again, where like the last couple of years, it seems like it's only been like Kyle and maybe a sporadic Cup driver here and there, where now it seems like we're starting to see these Cup guys starting to make a little bit more of a presence in the Xfinity Series. And obviously Junior Motorsports is doing the thing with Byron, Elliott, and Larson, and Alex Bowman said on Twitter that he's going to get involved at some point as well. So it's just like, it's interesting to see how that's going to play into the dynamic, especially since we're coming off the Dash for Cash, where nobody was eligible to race in the Xfinity Series besides the Xfinity Series drivers. So that'll be interesting to watch. It'll be interesting to see. I don't think Chase Elliott is a clear-cut favorite for that race, just because we've seen him bounce into these Junior Motorsports cars and not win. So I don't think it's just an automatic Chase Elliott's going to go in there and spank the competition.
These Xfinity guys are pretty good. I mean,
absolutely.
So it's gonna be really tough competition. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Now it's time for the most favorite segment of the show, is of course the picks. And taking a look at the standings, our good friend and our Jonathan's up 9 points on Marty, and Nathan's not too far behind. You're making a little bit of a comeback as I continue to slide down. I don't know why. And then Loomis and RJ are down at the bottom. I don't know why. All right, I put the picks out for trucks, but remind me, but who you got, bud?
I'm going to go with John Hunter Nemechek this week. I feel like he's due, and I feel like KBM usually shows up at Darlington. So I think he's due, and yeah, I think it's got to be his weekend. We got to see him back in victory lane sooner than later, and I think it'll happen tonight at Darlington.
Yeah, it'll be later tonight on FS1. I was gonna go with another KBM driver, but I decided to change it up and go with Carson Hocevar. I think the Nice Motorsports guys are gonna really come out strong. Of course, he's running that Travis Pastrana throwback, so that'll be good to see. But I think career win number 1 is on the way for Carson. So good stuff there. All right, Xfinity time. I think we know who you're taking.
I mean, you got to stick with the Gibbs, especially when he's got the best throwback of the weekend. Even if he wasn't running the Bobby Bryant car, even if he was running the car that Ryan Truex is running this week where it's all black, I would still be picking Ty Gibbs. He's very good. I think it's tough to pick against him on a regular basis. And when he's running the best throwback of the weekend, you got to pick him. So Ty Gibbs is winning this weekend at Darlington.
trademark stick to the Gibbs. I don't know why. So, there's been a lot of, but aren't we due for a Ty Gibbs win? I don't know. It's getting to be that time. It's going to be like, yeah, okay, time for Ty to win. But when you guys made your picks this week, I'm like, I'll have to see who I want. And then no one surprisingly took this guy. I'll just take last year's winner, Justin Allgaier, of this race. So the 7 teams kind of been coming up there. I know that maybe not the best start to the season, but Junior Motorsport is going to get back to victory lane again. So 17 going back to victory lane. Had a good race at Dover. It's going to get it done at Darlington. All right, the Goodyear 400 pick time. Who you got?
So this throwback race, we've seen it in the past where a guy that's not running a throwback will come in and spoil the party. We saw it with Carl Edwards, I think the first year that we ran throwbacks. I think we're going to see it again this year because Tyler Reddick is going to get his first win this season at Darlington. This is a track that I really think fits Tyler's driving style very, very, very well. And he's just due. I feel like every single weekend we're getting closer and closer to that Tyler Reddick winning mark. And I think that this weekend he'll finally get it done. And I think once one of these RCR cars wins, whether it's Reddick, whether it's Austin Dillon, I think we're going to start seeing them become really a factor in these races just because this year they've been slept on. And I mean, the funny thing is when you look at like Twitter, whenever Tyler Reddick runs strong, it's like, oh, they really gotta replace Austin Dillon because he's not running as strong. But like Austin Dillon is running just as strong as Tyler Reddick. Austin Dillon has been super quiet this year, and I think those RCR cars are just waiting to make a mark. And I think this weekend will be the start of it.
Yeah. So I'm going to take the guy who just signed a massive contract extension yesterday. I'll just take William Byron. Yeah, it's probably the best start to have the season. He's had a pretty good week so far. So I'll take the 2014. Yeah, I mean, I may not like the new hot look throwback. Go watch the Throwback show. Michael Carey was not a fan of that scheme, but who cares? 24 is going to victory lane. So yeah,
it's funny. And if William Byron wins this weekend, will we finally start saying, hey, he's just as likely to win a championship as his 2 teammates, Larson and Elliott? Because I feel like him and Chastain, it's kind of funny. I think Byron gets a little bit more credit than Chastain.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like these 2 guys have been the class of the field this season. And it's like, when are we going to start taking them serious? And I feel like William Byron's the type of guy where he could win like 5 races and people will just be like, Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson are us. Those are the best guys. And he's a guy that could sneak into this championship picture. I know it's May right now, but the 24 team's been looking pretty stout this season.
It has been. So just have to see once championship time rolls around in Phoenix to see if that team ends up there. But yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the preview show this week. Thanks, Mitchell, for coming on. We'll talk to you next week when we preview Kansas.